J77, your place for all things Raiders and all things Trailblazers. Brought to you by the Spotlight Sports Network. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Now let's go.
What is good, y'all? What is good? This is your boy Raider J77 coming to you live for Raider J Reaction Tuesday. This is the show where I react to all the NFL scores and stats, as well as I give you the updated news and notes from the Raiders organization, and I react to those as well. So definitely appreciate each and every one of you being in here today. If you are watching live, definitely jump into the chat. Let me know that you're here. I can shout you out. At the end of the show, we will, of course, I will take your questions. If you have any questions, I will do my best to answer them as far as, you know, anything really in the NFL or the Raiders that I know about. I will definitely answer that, as well as throughout the show, all of your reactions to the games, to the stats that happened in Week 9. We will definitely put up here on the screen. So let me know what your reactions are as well. So once again, I appreciate each and every one of you being here. If you have not yet, definitely go and like this live stream. Share it with your friends and family. Let everybody know that we're going live and what it's about. And definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, to the My City My Game channel. I'm trying to get to ultimately, the goal is the sky's the limit, really. But right now, my next goal is 200 subscribers. That's what I'm working towards. So I definitely appreciate it if you hit the subscribe and the notification button so you get all the notifications of all the shows that we're coming out with on this channel, as well as definitely subscribe to the Spotlight Sports Network YouTube channel as well. You can also hit me up on social media, which is down here at the bottom of the screen. So again, appreciate each and every one of you guys being here. So let's dig right into these scores, man. And let me know what you think. Hey, what's up, Raider Nug? Appreciate you. Oh, you know what, Raider Nug? I need to make you a moderator, my friend. I need to make you a moderator. You know what? I'm gonna do that right now. I appreciate each and every one of you. You know what? Let me see if I can make you a moderator right now. There we go. All right, cool. Got you, man. I appreciate you, Raider. No, you've been a loyal viewer ever since the beginning, so I appreciate you. What's up, Rude Boy Raider? Appreciate you, man. Good looking out. Good to have you in the chat. Good to have you viewing live. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's jump right into these scores. And if there's anything goes wrong with my audio or anything like that, guys, let me know. You never know. Wi-Fi goes a little wonky sometimes. Computers go wonky, but yeah, just hit me up in the chat. Let me know if anything goes wrong with the audio or anything like that. Gustavo Cortez says, "What's up from Everett, Washington? Raider Nation for life." Most definitely, bro. Raider Nation for life. Just win, baby. All day, every day. The ghost of Al Davis lives. Yeah, I appreciate you, man. All right, so the first game we're going to get into here is going to be for Week 9, the Packers versus the 49ers. Packers beat the 49ers 34-17. I had the Packers beating the 49ers all along. The 49ers are a ghost or a shell of themselves right now with how many injuries they've got. It's actually, you know, some people in Raider Nation don't like the 49ers, and I get that. You know, I don't hate the 49ers or anything like that, but man, as many injuries as they have had this season, I feel bad for them, man. I really do. I actually kind of feel bad. And I've got a couple of friends who are 49ers fans, so I really feel for the 49ers fan base out there because, man, they've had a tough go at it. Hey, what's up, Damian Hernandez? I appreciate you, man. Good to have you here, man. Good to have you in the chat. Absolutely appreciate you. Yeah, so the Green Bay Packers got 405 total yards. Now, the San Francisco 49ers did get 337 yards in this game. So even though they've been really suffering from injuries and stuff, their run game, they've actually been pretty efficient. They had 282 passing yards, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Jimmy G went down in this game. And I think they had another injury in this game as well. I didn't get to watch the whole game because I always have a lot of stuff going on Sunday, so I try to catch all of the games, but I didn't get to watch the whole one. But yeah, I mean, this was definitely, completely predictable. I totally saw this coming. And it was just, it was just Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers doing what they do and dominating a depleted and beat up San Francisco team. So we're going to go ahead and move on. Raider Nug says, sorry, hold on. Oh, Damian Hernandez says Super Bowl curse still exists. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, once you go to the Super Bowl, man, it is really hard. That's how come it's impressive, man, to see what the Patriots have done. As much as I hate that organization personally and can't stand Tom Brady or Bill Belichick, it's very impressive to see what the 49ers have been able to do, or not 49ers, the Patriots been able to do consistently year in and year out. Because it is really, really difficult to have 2 and 3 and 4 in a row, definitely crazy. Raider Nug says, for some reason, I can't see any of the other comments. I checked my settings too. That's weird. I don't know. Is anybody else having any issue seeing comments? I don't know. Maybe you might have to jump out and jump back in or something since I made you a moderator. I'm not totally sure, but hopefully everything is all right. All right. So moving on to the Texans and the Jaguars. The Texans beat the Jaguars 27-25. I knew this was going to happen. I totally saw it. Deshaun Watson, I trust him way more than I trust Gardner Minshew, the stash, because, he's just a lot more consistent. He can extend plays a lot better. I just really like his play a lot better. I think it's a lot more just better overall. And since the Texans have gotten rid of Bill O'Brien as head coach, they've been a different team. You can definitely see how much that guy was holding down this organization, how terrible of a head coach and GM he was. It's just night and day with these guys. Let's see here. Bial says Raiders crack top 10 in power rankings, W over 1 and 2. Oh, nice. I haven't actually haven't had a chance to look at the power rankings yet. I took yesterday off because I had a bunch of stuff going on, and I really needed to take care of some stuff with doctor's appointments and things like that. So I totally didn't. I was like on a social media break yesterday, so I didn't see a whole lot. But that's awesome, man. I'm gonna have to check that out. All right, so the Texans, 374 yards for the Texans, 412 for the Jaguars. Man, they're pretty close, 267 in passing yards to 297 for the Jags. The rushing yards, 107 versus 115. And the yards per play were 6 yards for the Texans and 6.1 for the Jags. This was definitely a close game. Obviously, you could tell. I mean, it came right down to just a field goal. Trying to look and see if anything really, really stands out as far as, the Jaguars had an interception. The Texans lost a fumble, so they were tied as far as turnovers are concerned. I mean, the Jaguars did have more time of possession than the Texans did, but I mean, quite honestly, everything else is pretty much the same. Third down efficiency, they're almost tied. 6 of 14 for the Jags, 6 of 15 for the Texans. So this was a really, really well-matched game. But yeah, the Texans were just able to do a little bit more to get that W, which is what separates a lot of teams in this league. It's not easy to win in this league, no matter who you are. Any given Sunday, you can, look at the New England and Jets, or the Patriots and Jets game. I mean, that came down to, like, I thought, the New England was going to just steamroll the Jets, but any given Sunday, and even the Cowboys hung in, against I believe it was against the Ravens, but we'll get to that here in a minute. All right, so Giants and the Washington football team, the no-name Washington football team. This was a score 23-20. I knew it was going to be a close game. I knew that there were there was going to be a lot of back and forth. I mean, these two teams are just suffering. They're just not that great. Real quick, Gustavo says we need to be more aggressive on play to win when we were 2 yards away in the fourth quarter. Yeah, most definitely. I feel like that was absolutely needed to be an aggressive play there. I felt like that at the end of the first half, right before the half, John Gruden did get aggressive, and obviously it ended with a fumble, and a turnover ultimately, which led to 3 points. So in that aspect, a lot of people are like, oh man, be conservative, take a knee, so it's like, what do you want? Conservative or aggressive? I feel you, man. Be aggressive. If when it comes right down to it, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? And sometimes stuff ends badly, but I'd rather them try. I'd rather them put forth the effort and be aggressive and have something bad happen than to be conservative and lose the game because we were too afraid, to really do anything. So I'm totally with you, Gustavo. Bial says, I'm expecting 60 payback points on the Jets, right? Right? No doubt. Most definitely. All right, so let's take a look at some of the stats here in this game. That was I actually thought that the Washington football team was going to win this. I was Daniel Jones. I just don't trust him. He's mad inconsistent. But then the Washington football team came out and, they threw 3 interceptions and, only had 19 first downs and were not very good on third down efficiency, only 3 of 8. They only ran a total of 50 plays. And they allowed 2 sacks. Now, New York allowed 5 sacks, which is, oh man, that's terrible. Man, goodness sake, dude. How's Daniel Jones even walking anymore? Yeah, and then Washington had a couple of fumbles that they lost, and yeah, through 3 interceptions. Let me pull up here something here real quick. Let's see. Oops, picked up the wrong one. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So Alex Smith. So I think Alex Smith, and so it's just so weird that Alex Smith and Keenan Allen are like kind of splitting the quarterback duty. Very, very strange to me. Alex Smith did have a touchdown, but he threw 3 interceptions. I'm assuming that they brought him out and put Keenan Allen in because he threw 3 interceptions, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. It's just really weird. What's going on there as far as that's concerned. Hang on, Raider. Now let me look at something here real quick. Give me just a quick second. Let me take a look at something here real quick. Having a little technical difficulties. Huh, that's weird. Yeah, you are a moderator, and I can see your chats there, Raider Nug. I'm not 100% sure what's going on there. Are you using your computer or are you using your phone? Because if you're using, sometimes when you go on your web browser on your phone, it won't show the chat and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you, man. All right, so let's take a look here. But I'm going to be posting stuff up in the chat, guys. So don't worry, Raider Nug. I'll be putting people's stuff up in the chat so you can see what's going on. So I apologize for that. I'm not quite sure what is going on there. But yeah, this weird situation at quarterback. Even after Alex Smith throws for 325 yards, 24 of 32 and a touchdown, but he throws 3 interceptions. They end up taking him out and putting Keenan Allen in. And yeah, phone as always. Absolutely, Raider Nug. Yeah, so I definitely think it's just a strange situation there in Washington. I'm hoping that the Washington football team actually, hopefully in the offseason, because I don't believe in Keenan Allen. I don't think he's the future. I don't think Alex Smith is the future. I mean, Alex Smith at this point, I mean, I think the guy's got to retire. I'd like to see them bring in somebody, maybe like Dak Prescott. Get him out of Dallas, because Dallas doesn't appreciate that dude. Maybe pick up who else might they be able to pick up? Maybe Sam Darnold, something like that. Get a, or draft a quarterback, something like that. But get a quarterback of the future, because the Washington football team, man, is just they need a quarterback like really, really bad, and not Alex Smith or Keenan Allen, that's for sure. All right, so yeah, the Ravens and the Colts. The Ravens beat the Colts 24-10. I was not expecting this win. I thought the Colts defense was going to be able to hold up against against a Ravens offense that doesn't really have much of an arm in Lamar Jackson. I don't care what anybody says. The guy is a great athlete. He's great at running. I mean, he's a beast. He's like Cam Newton 2.0 when it comes to that. But when it comes to making the throws and doing that sort of stuff and coming through in the clutch, the guy just doesn't have the clutch gene. And that's not good, man. That's not a good attribute or lack of an attribute for your quarterback to have. So I don't really believe in Lamar Jackson to be the future as of right now. That might change, and maybe they see something that I don't, because I'm not on the field at the practices and things like that. Maybe they see his arm steadily developing and becoming better and better. But I really don't feel like he is going to take them to a Super Bowl and win it. I mean, obviously you saw last year, against the Titans in the playoffs, they just completely looked lost, and the Titans just went in and just bitch slapped them, So yeah, I thought the Colts were going to hold up a lot better, but of course, old man Rivers, comes through, and that's a guy I know a lot about, him being used to be a Charger. I know quite a lot about him. He made, Eric Harris, who is not a very good safety, look like an all-pro, safety that should have gone to the Pro Bowl. With three interceptions in one game. So Phillip Rivers definitely did not come through for the Indianapolis Colts. They held Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to 24 points, which is not an easy thing to do by any stretch of the imagination. But let me take a look here. I want to look at Phillip Rivers. So Phillip Rivers, he was 25 of 43 for 227 yards and didn't throw a single touchdown, and he had one interception. It looks like at one point they put in Jacoby Brissett, and he made one attempt and absolutely nothing. So yeah, the Colts need to move on from Phillip Rivers. They need a new quarterback. I'm not sure who exactly would be the best fit for this offense. I mean, they have some decent weapons on offense. Michael Pittman Jr. is very good. So I don't know exactly what they would need to do as far as quarterback. But I mean, shoot, if I was them, I would a long time ago, I would have called Kaepernick and had Kaepernick come play, because man, Phillip Rivers he's done, man. The dude just needs to retire. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame. He's had a great career. Obviously, hasn't won a ring, but I just don't feel like he's ever going to. So they need to move on from Phillip Rivers, bring in somebody else to take that position. So just looking at the stats here real quick. Let me check the chat. Damian Hernandez says Washington would be stupid to give up on Haskins. In my opinion, I still think he is their future. You're talking about? Hold on. Let me pull that game back up. Are you talking about? Hold on. Let me take a look here. Haskins. Remind me who you're talking about, because I'm not sure if you're referring to when I was talking about Alex Smith and Keenan Allen, and maybe I'm just totally off. But let me know who exactly it is that you're talking about, and we'll take a look at that. Raider Nug says he's doing the same thing as always. Okay numbers, but can't leave the team to a W. Absolutely. And again, I believe you're talking about the Washington football team game. NFL owners approved 16 playoff contingency plan. Interesting. NFL owners approved the 16 playoff contingency plan. So I'm assuming that's a contingency plan based on the coronavirus or something like that, probably. Feel free to Dwayne Haskins, duh. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you definitely could be right. You know, I definitely, let's see, let me do something here. I'm gonna pull up his stats real quick. Let's take a look. Let's look into it. Let me get the good stats. Go straight to the NFL. All righty. 2020 Washington football. So in 4 games, 146 attempts, 89 completions. So his completion percentage is 60.96%. A total of 939 yards in 4 games. Average 6.4 yards per attempt. He had 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 34.25 first down percentage, 13 sacks. Yeah, he's got a QB rating of 80.3. So, I mean, yeah, he definitely sounds like, I mean, he's been in the league since 2019. Maybe possibly somebody that they could develop, you know, and I that QB rating of 80.3 leaves a lot to be desired, but there's a possibility that, yeah, he could definitely, you know, maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're just kind of waiting and developing him and seeing, you know, seeing what happens. So maybe you're right. You could definitely be right. Let's see. Raider Nug says maybe the Chargers mentally stuck with him. Maybe the Chargers mentality stuck with him. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, a lot of times you see players will move on from one team to another, and they'll be subpar at one team, and then they get a change of scenery, and all of a sudden they're a completely different player. You know, you see it time and time again. But then there's some players who don't. You know, Alex Smith being one of them. Like, you move from one player to one team to another, and that change of scenery, that change in the culture, the change in the scheme, it really doesn't do anything for you, and you just continue to be, you know, the average player. And I think that Phillip Rivers has been in the league long enough that we know who he is, and Tigers don't change their stripes. You know, we know what to expect from him. So, all right. So moving on. Let's go. Let's see. So yeah, the Ravens, like I was saying before, the Ravens did beat the Colts. Let's see. Let's look at Lamar Jackson. Was 19 of 23 for 170 yards and no touchdowns. You know, so once again, I mean, you've got to be one of those quarterbacks that not only can extend the play with your legs, but can also sling the rock. And I just don't feel like Lamar Jackson can do that. Let me take a look at some of the – so they had 110 rushing yards and only 156 passing yards. That is not good, even against a defense like these Colts. I mean, the Colts had 227, and the Ravens defense is no slouch. You know, they've got good players on their team, and they're a good defense. So I don't know. Lamar Jackson just doesn't move the needle for me. All right, moving on. Lions and the Vikings. Let me make sure I'm staying up with the chat here. Raider Nug says that contingency plan is only if important games that get moved or canceled need to be played. It won't change the seeding for teams, though. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Appreciate you. I think they rushed trying to get Haskins in there at the beginning. Hopefully it didn't break his confidence. Yeah, hopefully. You know, a lot of times you rush a guy too soon. He takes some sacks and he gets shell-shocked, you know. I mean, we saw it as Raider fans. We've seen it with Derek Carr, where he got hurt in 2016. He came back in the beginning of the 2017 season. He hurt his back. So, you know, you saw him get a little bit skittish in the pocket, afraid to extend plays, that sort of thing. But you have to work through that mentally. And so hopefully they haven't completely broken Haskins' confidence and got him shell-shocked. because that can definitely end a career for a quarterback. So the Lions lost to the Vikings 34-20. I saw this coming. I had picked the Vikings to win this game. Let's see. Let's take a look at some of the stats here. So 420 yards for the Lions, 487 for the Vikings. I had a feeling that Matthew Stafford was not going to perform well in this game, considering he had to take time off because of the coronavirus thing. So he was on the coronavirus list for a minute. So he wasn't able to practice with the team. And that's definitely, that definitely means something. When you're not able to practice and prepare, there's only so much that looking at a screen and checking film and stuff like that can do for you until, you got to get out there and you got to go through the motions and, get that physical play and go through it physically in order for you to really, to really get in there and get that down. So I assumed that he was going to struggle because of that. The Lions only averaged 5.7 yards per play, and they had 129 rushing yards, 292 passing yards. They were 6 of 12 on third down efficiency. Now, honestly, the Vikings were only 4 of 10 on third down efficiency. So neither one of them, 50%, is definitely better than 40%. So yeah. 74 plays to the Vikings 55. Hold on, I'm going to check into the chat. Hey, what's up, Raider J? Teams are on to his game now. Yeah, most definitely. Sunjoku says Cook finally showed up. Yeah, he definitely did. I totally agree with that. I'm going to get to that in a minute here. So yeah, all in all, the Vikings, Matt Stafford threw 3 interceptions. That's going to kill you, man. If you have that many turnovers, that's going to kill you. Even though they dominated the clock, they dominated the time of possession, 32 versus 27. So there's a little bit of a gap there. So they won in that aspect. They just didn't really have a lot going on as far as touchdowns and things like that. So let me pull that up here. So let me take a look. Matt Stafford was 23 of 32 for 211 yards, a touchdown and 2 interceptions. I believe he went down in this game with an injury of some sort. So they put Daniel out there. He was 8 of 13 for 94 yards, a touchdown and an interception. So pretty similar, that's pretty crazy when your backup, has similar numbers to you, even though it was a shorter, smaller sample size. The stats are quite similar. Let's see. Going to the Vikings, Kirk Cousins was 13 of 20 for 222 yards and 3 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook, 22 carries for 206 yards. He averaged 9.4 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns. That's impressive. That is some impressive running. Yeah, he finally did come through, Sunjoku. You most definitely have that correct. All right, so it says I can see Joku and his comments now. Good. I'm glad you're getting the comments back. It might, like I said, I made you a moderator, so I don't know, maybe something was going wonky with that. All right, so let's see. Moving on. So the next game we have the Bears and the Titans. The Titans beat the Bears 24-17. I knew this was going to happen. The Titans are playing really good football. Yeah, they haven't faced a lot of teams that are really, really good. This Bears team, their offense is really struggling right now. Montgomery is struggling. Nick Foles is struggling. It's just they're just having a tough time. Their defense is doing well. But in this game, Nick Foles was 36 of 52 for 335 yards and 2 touchdowns. Montgomery, 14. He was the leading back, 14 carries for 30 yards. He only averaged 2.1 yards per carry. So they definitely were not able to establish any sort of run game. Let's take a look at some of the overall stats here. Oh, but real quick, Ryan Tannehill was 10 of 21 for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not super impressive, but it gets the job done, I guess. Derrick Henry, 21 carries for 68 yards, averaging 3.2 yards per carry. But, they got to definitely have a committee back there. He had the majority of the touches, but Foreman came in, did some things, and as well as McNichols. So, but no rushing touchdowns. It was just the 2 touchdowns for. Let me see here. Let me pull up their stats here real quick. So 375 yards for the Bears, 228 for the Titans. Oh man, passing yards for the Bears is 319 versus 136 for the Titans. That's crazy. How do you pass that? How do you get that many more passing yards on a team and you don't win? That's wow. Okay. So rushing yards, 92 for the Titans, 56 for the Bears. And they averaged the Titans actually averaged just about a yard less, 4.1 versus 5 per play. Let's see what else we got here. The third down efficiency was terrible for the Bears. So that definitely will make things difficult for you. 2 of 15 on third down efficiency versus 6 of 15 for the Titans. The Bears attempted 4 fourth down conversions, and they converted 3 of the 4. They each of them allowed 3 sacks. Let's see, fumble. So yeah, the Bears did fumble a couple of times, so they had a couple of turnovers that way. So that'll definitely get you. But they did dominate the time of possession at 33 minutes versus 26 minutes. So I definitely see how the Bears could have won this game, but it just looks like they didn't have it, have enough in the tank, to really push them over the edge there. Let's see here. So yeah, Ryan Tannehill had a couple of touchdowns. And then I guess the rest were all, let's see. Okay, yeah, so 6 points for Gostkowski. So he had a couple of field goals. So yeah, just overall, like I expected the Titans to do a lot better. I knew they were going to win, but man, I expected it to be a lot better. Let's see in the chat here. The NFC as a whole isn't very good. I would agree with that. Damian Hernandez says, God, I can't wait until the Bears finish 5-11 so we can get Nagy and Pace out. Get Nagy and Pace out of here, damn it. Got you, man. And Pagano can get the hell out of Chicago. Yeah, I know. I don't know why in God's name they put all of their faith in Mitch Trubisky. I just can't. I can't call it, man. They spent all that money and they traded draft picks away to with the Raiders specifically for Khalil Mack and other things to try to bolster that defense, which is great. But at the same time, you don't really have any picks to move on from Mitch Trubisky, and he just is not working out. So, yeah, I definitely don't understand where they were going with that. But sometimes you gamble on somebody and you lose. All right, onward. Panthers versus Kansas City. This was surprising. I expected Kansas City would win this game dominantly, but it was 33-31 Kansas City. Sanjoku says, bet they deal Mac in the offseason for money. Yeah, I could see that. I could see them definitely trying to deal him to get some money, so or some draft picks so they can go after a quarterback of the future. That's what I would do. I mean, that's one of the most important positions on your team is that quarterback position, if not the most important. Because you see a lot of teams out there. You have to have at least a decent quarterback. Somebody that can manage the game if you have a really good defense. But in this league nowadays, though, I don't know if that same rhetoric applies. I don't know if that same story applies to today's defense, where these guys can score in bunches, man. They can score in bunches on some of the best defenses the league has ever seen, some of the best defensive players the league has ever seen. These guys can air it out and really score quickly, fast, and in a hurry, man. So, but yeah, Kansas City 33, Carolina 31. I was really glad to see Christian McCaffrey back. I really like him as a player. He's, I love the way, just how efficient he is and how much of a Swiss Army knife he can be. I mean, he makes that team better. He came out off of this injury and had 18 carries for 69 yards and a touchdown. After weeks and weeks of being on IR, not having a lot going on, the guy comes out and puts together a pretty efficient game and just makes the team overall better. They were able to hang with the Kansas City Chiefs. Teddy Bridgewater had a couple of runs for 19 yards. He was 36 of 49 for 310 yards through the air and a couple of touchdowns. So not a bad game for Teddy Bridgewater either. Curtis Samuel, I'm really liking Curtis Samuel. I actually have him and Christian McCaffrey on my fantasy team. 9 receptions for 105 yards, averaging 11.7 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's pretty good, man. All right, so let me take a look at the Chiefs. So Patrick Mahomes is 30 of 45 for 372 yards and, of course, 4 touchdowns. But it's Patrick Mahomes. That's what he does. You got a guy like Tyreek Hill. You got a running back like Edwards-Helaire. I just want to point out here real quick on that note, Le'Veon Bell, who everybody was screaming from the mountaintops, like, oh, he's going to take this offense to a whole other level and, blah, blah. He had 4 carries for 8 yards. He averaged 2 yards a carry. Le'Veon Bell, apparently, as of right now, is the same guy that he was with the Jets. So just putting that out there. I'm just putting that out there. Travis Kelce had 159 yards on 10 receptions. No touchdowns, but of course, averaging 15.9 yards per reception is pretty efficient. So they are who they've always been. But you know what? The Panthers definitely, I know there's no moral victories, but they hung in there. You know what I mean? They had 435 yards total on the game to Kansas City's 397. 331 of those yards were in the air and 104 were on the ground. That's pretty good. Kansas City only had 30 rushing yards, so that's pretty impressive to be able to hold, a running back core like the Kansas City Chiefs have to only 30 yards total for the game. That's pretty impressive. Sunjoku says the Panthers should have won. Yeah, they should have. They should have definitely won that game. They did everything right. 31st, they have more first downs. Their third down efficiencies wasn't bad. 7 of 16. They converted all 3 of their fourth down conversion attempts. They had 76 total plays. Yeah, they allowed a couple of sacks, but Kansas City allowed 1. Penalties weren't even that bad. 82 yards and penalties for the Panthers and 75 for the Chiefs. The Chiefs actually had lost a fumble. Carolina dominated the time of possession, 38 minutes versus 21. So that is the Achilles heel, I believe, of this Kansas City. And as a Raiders fan, that's how we were able to beat them, is we stopped their run game. We kept Patrick Mahomes off of the field, and we came through in the clutch. We got a few sacks on him that game. There was definitely a lot of things there's definitely a ways to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They're not unbeatable. And in this case, yeah, definitely the Panthers should have won. Bial says Mariota for Mac. Sure, I'm down with that. Raider J says they know they lost the trade now because they can't help their offense. Absolutely. And that's what happens when you put all your money in one guy, like that. They're definitely, look who's got the better team right now, the Bears or the Raiders. It is what it is. You tell me, you be the judge. Raider J, they played aggressive against the Chiefs also. Yes, they did. Absolutely. Just like the Raiders did. You got to be aggressive with a team like that. Raider Nug says teams are starting to see if they rattle Mahomes, they have a chance. Yeah, most definitely. If you can, I said that going into that game against the Kansas City Chiefs. If you put the pressure on Mahomes and you rattle him, you get him uncomfortable, he's going to make wild, crazy throws. That's going to lead to interceptions. That sort of stuff. He definitely is always looking to extend the play. So if you can put pressure on him and you can get him uncomfortable, he'll try to thread the needle. There's interceptions to be had, which we had an interception in that game. So you can definitely get turnovers on this Kansas City team if you can make Mahomes uncomfortable. Bial says Seabass would have made that kick. Yeah. I'm assuming you're talking about the one at the end of the Kansas City Carolina game. Yeah, definitely. Seabass was. I miss that man. I miss being able to rely, and I know John Gruden does too. Because in the clutch, man, when you need 3 points and you need to win a game right there at the end, when it's right down to the wire, you could put Seabass out there and he'll win the game for you. Damian Hernandez says our problem isn't Foles or Trubisky. Actually, it's Nagy, crappy play calls, and our crappy O-line, which they never fixed in years. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'll disagree to a certain extent on the fact that the problem isn't Foles or Trubisky. Again, I just don't feel like they have what it takes to push the Bears over the edge there. But yeah, I mean, you could be right. You know, it definitely, a lot of it has to do with coaching. So I don't disagree with you there. But, you know, great players like Aaron Rodgers and, you know, Patrick Mahomes and guys like that will, even when the call or the play breaks down, the call's not the best call, they'll make the adjustments and they'll make it happen. And I don't believe that Foles or Trubisky can do that. So, Damian Hernandez, we're not trading Mac. We wasted too much on him. It would be stupid to trade him. Yes, I agree. It would be stupid to trade him, but I could see in a world where that would happen. Raider Nug 209, if the Raiders D-line gets healthy and Irving gets in there, we can put even more pressure on Mahomes. Most definitely. And that's what we need to do. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit later here in a few minutes as soon as we finish up with this. I'm going to talk about some of the additions and possible additions that the Raiders could add to this defense to make Patrick Mahomes' life a living hell. All right, so moving on. We got a few games here left. Seahawks and Bills. I did not see the Bills winning this game 44-34 over the Seahawks. I expected Russell Wilson was going to come through, you know, in the clutch and just have a hell of a game, but you know, any given Sunday. So 26 of 41 for Wilson, 390 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he threw 2 interceptions. And that is something that Patrick Mahomes will do as well, is he will throw interceptions because, again, he's aggressive. He's going to try to extend the play. He's going to try to thread the needle, much like Patrick Mahomes. You can exploit him in those areas if you get him uncomfortable. Josh Allen, 31 of 38 for 415 yards and 3 touchdowns. They're so, like, the Bills are so Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde this season. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, they started off the season on fire, smoking hot, and then all of a sudden just, like, completely disappeared. They were a terrible team again, and now here they come, coming out against, you know, a really good Seattle team that obviously has its defensive issues. I believe that the defense really has to improve for Seattle for them to win a Super Bowl or to even get to the Super Bowl. But yeah, I mean, they just come out and they just dominate. You know, they dominate a good Seattle team with one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You know, matched them toe-to-toe with total yardage, passing yards, even rushing yards, you know. And their yards per play were almost exactly the same, 6.7 versus 6.6. So, I mean, really just the 2 fumbles for Seattle and the 2 interceptions, that was the thing that killed them. That was the thing that really, really killed Seattle. Otherwise, it probably would have either been much closer and come right down to the wire, or so the Seahawks probably would have won that game. All right, moving on. So now we have the Broncos and the Falcons. The Falcons beat the Broncos 34-27. All of Raider Nation, what's up? The Broncos lost. The Chargers lost. The only team that won was Kansas City, but what are you going to do? But we are definitely not the worst in the division anymore. Hallelujah. Thank the Lord. The Falcons beat the Broncos 34-27. Drew Lock was 25 of 48 for 313 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. My man Matt Ryan, 25 of 35 for 265 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. So this was obviously a close game. You know, they're pretty equal. I mean, the Broncos had actually a little bit more total yardage than the Falcons did. They were both able to establish the run. They actually had the same amount of first downs, almost identical. I think they both had an interception. The Falcons allowed a couple of sacks, but the Broncos allowed one. So, this could have gone either way, but in the end, the Falcons were able to stay in the game and eventually pull away, and didn't blow the lead in the end, and they were able to win this game. So let's see, 34. So the Denver, well, they tried to let them come back. Denver actually scored 21 points in the fourth quarter versus Atlanta 7. But at that point, they hadn't scored any touchdowns. They only had a couple of field goals on the game in going into the fourth quarter. So there was already kind of a little bit of a cushion there. Let's see, 10, 20, 27. 27 points going into the fourth quarter. So the Atlanta did try to let them come back and win, but they weren't able to do it in the end because we all know the Broncos, at the end of the day, they suck. Let's see. All right, so I'm gonna skip over the Raiders-Chargers game. We'll talk about that in a minute. Dolphins-Cardinals. I don't know who saw that coming. Real quick, I'm gonna go to the chat. Okay. Raider J says, I hate the donkeys. Yeah, you're not the only one, man. Once again, I just want to say real quick, I appreciate everybody that's watching live, everybody that's into the chat. If you have not already, if you're brand new and you haven't already, like the video, like this live feed, subscribe to the channel, My City, My Game, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button for all the notifications of all the shows and live feeds or live streams that I got coming out here. And also hit up the Spotlight Sports Network YouTube channel and hit like there. We cover all sports there. So right now, 34-31. I expected the Cardinals were going to win this game. Tua Tagovailoa actually came through. He was 20 of 28 for 248 yards and 2 touchdowns. I wasn't 100% sold on him going into this game, especially because last week it was really just special teams and defense that won that game for him. And they only had a total of 55 yards total or 75 yards or something like that total. They didn't even go down the entire length of the football field once in that entire game last week. So, now technically it's the week before last. But anyhow, so he came through, definitely, did well. Ahmed had 7 carries for 38 yards. Let me look at the overall yardage here real quick. I was surprised Kyler Murray didn't do a lot better. I mean, he threw 3 touchdowns, but I'm surprised that wasn't enough. Let's see. Let's take a look here at the overall stats. So the Cardinals had 442 total yards versus 312 for the Dolphins. Raider J says Dolphins have been balling. Yeah, they have, man. Their defense has been looking really good. They were pretty closely matched on the passing yards. Now, the Cardinals did have a lot more rushing yards, 178 versus 91, which is strange because usually in this situation, if you establish the run like that, you can take a really, really sizable lead, control the clock, and just kind of, milk the clock all the way out to the end of the game. But, it was a close one, 34-31. They won by a field goal. So 6.9 yards for the Cardinals and 5.6 yards for the Dolphins. Look at see if anything else really jumps out kind of crazy to me. The Dolphins did allow 3 sacks, which is not good, especially for a guy that's new, a new quarterback. Cardinals allowed 1, and the Cardinals had a fumble. But they weren't really able to get much on as far as the clock and time of possession. 28 minutes versus 31 minutes. That doesn't give you a lot of time to really eat the clock up and keep these guys from coming back. It looks like Miami started off hot with a couple of touchdowns in the first quarter, another touchdown in the second quarter. And it looks like the Cardinals they laid a goose egg in the fourth quarter. They weren't able to do anything. So, and then the Dolphins were able to get up 10 points on them. So let's see. Let me check something here real quick on their defense. Was there any? Yeah, I mean, nothing really crazy as far as as far as defense was concerned. No like pick sixes or anything like that. So kudos to the Dolphins, man. They came out and they played a really really good game. A solid game against a good Cardinals team. All right, so now moving on. Let's see. We have went too far. Let me back up here. All right, Steelers and the Cowboys. Now, Steelers. Hold on, let me go to the chat. BL says Dolphins still have me worried with late season game. Most definitely, that's not going to be a give me game for sure. We're going to have to go out there and battle to get that game because the Dolphins are playing good football. Hey, what's up, Colton Henry? Colton Henry says, "Yo, what's up, man? How you doing? Appreciate you, man." Yeah. So taking a look at this now, I'm hoping that the Steelers are watching because I gotta call you guys out, man. Steelers, how in God's name are you going to come out and let some guy who most of us have never even heard of before, throw for 243 yards and a touchdown and only one interception, and make this Cowboys team actually look halfway decent? There were times that this Cowboys team couldn't score more than a field goal on the opposing team for the entire game, and you let them come out there and score 19 points on you. Yes, it's not, it wasn't a barn burner by any stretch of the imaginations, but this Cowboys team is terrible. I'm pretty sure that this Gilbert character is probably their fourth string quarterback. If he wasn't just signed to the practice squad like yesterday, they just picked him up at the Greyhound bus stop and signed him to a deal and like, hey, go play some football for us. You did really good in high school. Some of y'all might know this Gilbert dude. I don't personally and never heard of him. But my goodness, Pittsburgh, like that's just, and you only scored 24 points. I mean, that's all that you can muster up is 24 points against a depleted, suffering, terrible Cowboys team like this. You guys need to take a look in the mirror and be like, look, we know that, I'm pretty sure, we know that we're the only undefeated team in the NFL. But my God, you guys looked average against this Cowboys team. That's not acceptable. The Steelers should have scored 40 plus points on this team. And sure as heck shouldn't have let them get 19. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger had 3 touchdowns. So, I mean, your starting number one running back had 9 carries for 22 yards. You only managed to muster up 46 rushing yards against the Cowboys. 46. You had less than a yard more per play than the Cowboys, who are the worst. Other than the Jets, I feel like they're worse than the Jets. I feel like in a matchup that the Jets could beat the Cowboys at this point. I mean, just, and the Cowboys threw an interception and had a fumble. And you still let them come within 5 points of matching you. You guys really need to take a look in the mirror, have a Michael Jackson moment, take a look at the man in the mirror, and realize it starts with you and ends with you. And if you don't play better, you're not going to win a Super Bowl. Because play like this in the postseason, and you're going to be bounced out quick, fast, and in a hurry. All right, my rant's over. Bial says Gilford should have thrown the ball up higher for that Hail Mary last play. Mm-hmm. Damian Hernandez, to be fair, when was the last time Steelers beat the Cowboys since this game? Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's been, yeah, I mean, the Cowboys have historically had their number, and it showed. And I don't even know how that's possible. I don't know. I mean, I feel like you know, a Pee-wee team could beat this Cowboys team. They're just somebody tell me, somebody in the chat tell me who is Gilbert. Let me pull him up. Garrett Gilbert. Who is Garrett Gilbert? Anybody know? Anybody ever heard of him before? Have a stat on him? Anything that means anything as far as stats are related? He didn't even look. I see him right here in a picture in a Browns jersey. It looks like he didn't even make it with the Browns. He has a passer rating of 57.6. All right, I'm moving on. I'm wasting time. Moving on. Freaking Steelers. All right, Saints Buccaneers. Woo, Saints Buccaneers. All right, let me go to the chat real quick before I go off here. BL, Steelers were probably trying different things out. Yeah, it's possible. Maybe they were just, you know, like, hey, let's go see if you can toss it under your ass into the air and see if you can catch it with your teeth or something. I don't know. That was a pathetic showing. Steelers took him for granted. Yeah, definitely. He's the water boy. Oh man. He's the son of a backup Super Bowl champion. Really? He's the son of a backup Super Bowl champion? Who? Tell me, give me some more information on that, BL. He's the water. That just reminds me of the Waterboy movie. The Water Boy. Anyway, moving on. All right, Saints 38, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, just 3 measly points. Damian Hernandez says he played in AAF. Oh, okay. All right, so I don't know about you guys, but I have strong feelings against Tom Brady. I really can't stand Tom Brady, and I don't know any real Raiders fan that could stomach the sight of his smirky, friggin' douchey smile. Can't stand him. Can't stand the New England Patriots. And, you know, of course, when Tom Brady goes to the Buccaneers, everybody's like, oh, they're going to be the best team ever because they have the best quarterback ever. And then the whole, they're going to sign Antonio Brown after, you know, the guy. I mean, come on, man. Like, seriously. So then they sign Antonio Brown, and everybody's like, oh, they're gonna win a Super Bowl. They're going to be the best team ever. And they go out and don't score a single touchdown, don't even get any points on the board until the fourth quarter. They just get completely annihilated by the Saints, which is a team that we beat in commanding fashion. Don't know how we lost to this Tampa Bay team, but it happened any given Sunday. But I just enjoyed the crap out of last night's game, Sunday night's game, watching Tom Brady just get smacked around. It was awesome. One of the best things I've seen in a while. The Saints had 138 rushing yards. Guess how many rushing yards Tampa Bay had? They had a total of 8 rushing yards. Only 194 total yards on the game, averaging 4.2 yards per play. Only 13 first downs. They were only able to run 46 plays. They allowed 3 sacks, and Tom Brady threw 3 interceptions. I love it. I love it. I'm a Tom Brady hater. You guys can note it, but I hope you're with me. If not, oh well. No love lost, but I can't stand Tom Brady. The Saints 420 total yards, 282 passing, 138 rushing, averaging 5.8 yards per play. Yeah, I mean 9 of 14 on their third down efficiency. Third down efficiency for the Bucks is 1 of 9. 1 of 9. Antonio Brown officially came in and completely tore this team apart in 2 weeks? He's been on the team. Way to go. All right, onward. Moving on. I'm not even going to go over any more of that. All right, Patriots, Jets. Again, a game that I kind of expected New England to dominate this game. The Jets have not been playing well, obviously. They're one of the worst. They are the worst in the league. They don't have one single win on the season. Hold on real quick. Let me go to the chat. Bial says, Gail Gilbert, Seattle Seahawks, Buffalo Bills, San Diego Chargers. He's the only player in NFL history to be on 5 consecutive Super Bowl teams, none of which won. It's not good. Damien Hernandez, this game goes to show Tom Brady is nothing but Belichick, and Belichick is nothing without Brady. Yeah, I mean, capture lightning in a bottle. You have a great quarterback, a great coach on a great team with plenty of money to spend, and obviously Belichick is a really good GM. So yeah, they captured lightning in a bottle, which is why they were able to do what they were able to do for so long, and you don't see that happening when they're not together. So. Cam Newton, I think I hope we could all agree, in my opinion, hopefully you agree with me. If not, it's okay. You could disagree with me, but Cam Newton is not the future of the New England Patriots. The guy should just retire, just hang it up. 27 to 35 for 274 yards, no touchdowns. Let's see, Cam Newton had 2 rushing touchdowns, and then Rex Burkhead had a rushing touchdown. Just let me look at the stats overall. 274 yards passing for New England, 433 total, but they had 169 rushing yards to the Jets 69. The Jets averaged 7.3 yards per play. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. They only had 18 first downs, though. Their third down efficiency was pretty decent, 6 of 10. They only ran 44 plays, and New England ran 76. Time of possession, 36 minutes and 58 seconds for New England, 23 minutes and 2 seconds for the Jets. So they definitely dominated the time of possession, which looks like how they won this game. They only won by a field goal. So kudos to the Jets, man. And New England, you need to get rid of Cam Newton and find somebody else, because he can't throw for crap. And when he does, he throws picks. I don't know, make him a running back and draft a quarterback or something, because no, it's not good. Damien Hernandez says, damn it, I got to stop drinking this damn Kool-Aid. Yeah. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Damien, stop drinking the Kool-Aid. All right, so those are the games for week 9. Scores and stats, all that good stuff. I hope you guys, enjoyed that. Going to move on to Raiders news and notes. We're going to talk about the Raiders here for maybe the next 30 minutes or so. Give you guys a little bit of information, some transaction news and things of that sort. So, first and foremost, since Sunday, the Raiders signed defensive back Rashawn Golden to the practice squad. Defensive end Chris Smith and offensive line Jared Jones-Smith were reverted to the practice squad. And then today they signed wide receiver Rico Gafford to the practice squad. Now, I don't know if you guys knew, but last week they had released Rico Gafford from the practice squad. Now they've re-signed him back. It sounds like that was just a move to clear a roster spot, because obviously we're down with some injuries, and so they needed to bring Chris Smith and Jared Jones-Smith up to the 53-man roster so that they could have some availability there in case they needed to go there. And I think Chris Smith even played some snaps in the game on Sunday. Didn't see him much because we didn't have a lot going on as far as the defensive line was concerned, except for one sack. But so then they re-signed Rico Gafford. So everybody that was panicking about them releasing Rico Gafford and him being a speedster and all this kind of stuff, a lot of people were going crazy about it. don't even worry about it. He's back onto the practice squad. Everything is all good. Now, they did sign defensive back Rashawn Golden, which is an interesting move by the Raiders. So taking a look at his information, I don't know if you guys know much about this kid, but he was signed back in he was drafted back in 2018. He's a Tennessee product. He's a product of Tennessee, University of Tennessee. He ran a 4.69 40 and a 4.26 short shuttle. He was drafted by the Carolina Panthers. Then he was bounced over to, I believe, the New York Giants. Yes, the New York Giants. He was bounced over there after being released by the Panthers. Coming out of college, he was actually he was ranked as the second best free safety prospect in the draft that season, or that draft, by DraftScout.com, and was ranked 10th best cornerback by Sports Illustrated. So he plays free safety and cornerback, and he was ranked 13th best cornerback in the draft by Scouts Incorporated. Now, here's something interesting. As a Raiders fan, or as a GM for the Raiders, Mike Mayock obviously used to be a draft analyst once upon a time before he was a GM for the Raiders. So what's cool is there's sometimes when you get these guys signed to the Raiders, you can look back and you can see what Mike Mayock had to say about them in the draft. So here's what Mike Mayock had to say about Golden coming out of college into the NFL. Golden, the defensive back, he's kind of interesting. I don't know what he is. I watch him on tape. He plays nickel. He's tough. He hustles to the football. He's got some range. I want to see what he runs. I mean, he's 6'1". He might even play corner. I don't know if he runs 4.48 or something. He might be interesting as a long corner. He also might be interesting as a free safety. But I know he can play special teams. I kind of feel like right now he's probably an early third-day pick, but I think he could help himself. That was Mike Mayock's quote on Rashad Golding back before he was drafted, or when he was coming into the draft back in 2018. Now, so that leads me to believe this. Here's my take on this. I feel like there's a possibility that this just might be a depth addition. So we're just signing him to the practice squad for some possible depth. But it could also mean something else, because he did actually, let me pull up my information here. In college, hold on. Let's see. In college, so again, he was with the Tennessee Volunteers. Despite the team having its worst season in school history, Golden earned 65 tackles, 5 pass deflections, 3 forced fumbles, and an interception. Now, in the league, his stats are not very good. Let's see. Let me pull up his. I think he's only got like one pass defense. Hold on, let me pull up his stats here real quick. For the NFL. So in the NFL, he has he played in a total of 25 games so far for 19 total tackles, 13 solo, and 1 pass defense. So he hasn't had the best NFL resume. So again, this could just be they're going to sign him for depth, and in case somebody goes down, they can bring him up as a fill-in. Or it's possible that Mike Mayock might see something in this guy that none of the rest of us see. meaning that, somebody that they can work with and develop and possibly take over at the free safety position for a very struggling Eric Harris. I don't know if that's the case. There's a possibility. Maybe, like I said, maybe, he's just a depth guy, but maybe he's something more. But we're gonna have to see. I think it's an interesting signing. I think that there is definitely something there, and then definitely keep an eye out for this guy coming out or coming to the practice squad and see what actually happens with him. Now, next thing I want to talk about is pull up my notes here. Next thing I want to talk about is that, so there is a player, a defensive end by the name of Takk McKinley. You might know him. He plays for the Atlanta Falcons. So the waiver process for Falcons defensive end Takk McKinley, and this comes from Vincent Bonsignore, starts tomorrow. So his waiver process starts tomorrow. Something to keep an eye on for the Raiders. Also, at this point in the season, the waiver wire priority is determined by current NFL standings. So there is a possibility that Takk McKinley could absolutely become available for the Raiders to pick up, since he has been waived or is in the process of being waived by the Atlanta Falcons. Now, pulling up his information or pulling up his stats. So this is why I think that this would be possibly, depending on what the contract would look like, could be a good addition for the Raiders. He's played in 49 games. So he played all 4 seasons so far with the Atlanta Falcons. This is his 4th season. 49 games. He's had 76 total tackles. 50 of them were solo tackles. 17 and a half sacks. Let's see. 2 passes defensed. And I believe he has 2 total forced fumbles. 1 fumble recovery by the opponent. So he has a fumble recovery and 2 forced fumbles in his career. I think that this would definitely be a good addition to a struggling pass rush that the Raiders have right now. Obviously not as a trade, as a free a waiver signing. Bring him on the practice squad, let him see what he can do. If nothing else, we've got a really good guy for depth, who can possibly come in and fill in if somebody goes down, or he could be added. I mean, I'm thinking, Takirus McKinley and, the Condor and Cleveland Farrell. You bring in David Irving. You got Mo Hurst in there. I mean, that is a really, those are some good players that I really think can bolster this pass rush. Raider Nug says depth no more. Yeah, I'm assuming you're referring to Rashad. But yeah, I think there's a possibility that he's depth and not more than that. But again, you never know. It sounded like Mike Mayock was, pretty high on him as far as, what he thought about him. So, there's a possibility he could become more, but we'll just have to wait and see. Bial, need another Abrams type player to fill that role. I'm assuming you're talking about the safety position. Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing about what Mike Mayock had to say about this guy, was that he got after the ball. There have actually been some instances I was reading up on him. He has had some instances where he actually was hitting a little bit too hard in practice. And a lot of guys were like, oh, well, he's just, trying to get after the ball. But then other people are like, no, it's, he could have caused injury. So he got a lot of flack for that. And I guess there was another issue, on the field issue, that he had in a game, where he got a little bit too rough with a player, and he ended up getting a unnecessary roughness penalty. And so, so then he had some issues, with that as well. But a lot of people are saying that's just because that's the way he plays. And we all know that Jonathan Abrams kind of the same kind of guy, where he's just gets after the ball, loves to hit people hard, and just has to be able to learn to rein that in. So, there's a possibility you get a guy back there at the free safety position that's just as rough and tumble as a Jonathan Abram. Might be a recipe for something good. We'll just have to see. All right, onward. So now I want to move on to so we all saw Isaiah Johnson in the game on Sunday. Isaiah Johnson obviously played a really, really good game. Pull up his stats here. So Isaiah Johnson's played in 13 games total. He's got 12 tackles, 6 solo, and 3 passes defensed. I don't mind that at all. I don't mind that at all. I'd like to see more of Isaiah Johnson. You guys let me know in the chat what you think. I'd like to see more Isaiah Johnson out there on the field. He actually played played 5 games in 2019. He's played 8 games, but we haven't seen a whole lot from him. But there was something interesting that I found on Twitter concerning him. Let me pull that up here. Specifically on that last play, where he said that basically was asked, what he was thinking. I'm going to play the audio here for you guys so you can hear what he had to say about that last play. BL says, yeah, sounds like an upgrade from Harris. Yeah, possibly. That's what I'm thinking. It's possible that he could be an upgrade from Harris. And Raider Nug says, I'd like to see Heath or Joyner over Harris. I like Harris, but he's more of a give a breather to the starter guy. Yeah, he's definitely a rotational player. He's not somebody you're gonna have in there, taking 50 plus snaps a game. Definitely not. So, but I want to play this audio from Isaiah Johnson here.
I feel like that moment
on that last play.
I feel like that moment was for him, just because I know that he would be with me in a situation like that.
What's his name?
Kadarian Smith.
1 second. Here's the ball game. Herbert will float it right side. It is Parham. Did he catch it? He did. Touchdown. Donald Parham.
Let's check it out here.
Oh, that is an incomplete pass. It's incomplete. Game over.
I think it was Wednesday morning I found out that one of my close teammates that was like a little brother to me had passed away in Houston. I played cornerback with him at U of H. He had lost his life in Houston this past Wednesday, and I didn't tell a whole bunch of people about it just because I knew that we still had to prepare and win the game, and I didn't want to be a distraction. But I feel like that game, not to make it about myself whatsoever, but I feel like that moment was for him. I feel like that.
So that was a little clip, some audio from Isaiah Johnson about specifically that last play and what it meant to him. He dedicated that last play, to his old teammate that had lost his life in Houston. And that was, you saw at the end of that game there, you could see he was very emotional on that play. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I thought it was something that was really cool. This Isaiah Johnson, I mean, he seems like a really good guy. He seems like a really cool cat. Somebody we definitely want to have on our team. Has great character, and obviously is an up and coming player. I'm really excited. I was glad to see him on the field as much as I did, because me and Darian would be kind of pounding the table to see more of Isaiah Johnson at the cornerback position. And get what's his name? I can't even think of his name. Out of there, who's been filling in for Amik, or sorry, not Amik, but oh my God, my brain's not working today. Anyhow, the guy that was on our injured reserve who hurt his thumb. Anyway, I was glad to see Isaiah Johnson out there on the field. Raider Nug says Big Play Zay needs more reps. 15 to 20 a game, maybe. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I think that I'm assuming you're talking about Isaiah Johnson. I think he needs to be out there more. And I'm looking forward to, I'd love to see him move to the slot corner and move Joyner back to the free safety, position. If in fact, this, the addition of Rashad to the practice squad isn't going to be to take the place of Eric Harris. I think that Isaiah Johnson would do some really good things out there. So, oh yeah, thank you, Damon Arnett. That's what I was talking about. Damon Arnett, who went down with the thumb injury. Yeah, so I just feel like Isaiah Johnson is just, I don't know. I'm just excited for the guy. I'm really looking forward to, what he's going to be able to do in the future. Again, it sounds like a really good character guy, a guy that we could definitely use on our team, and hopefully we keep him around. Hopefully he gets more reps, and takes more snaps, because I really think that he's going to be a good player. I mean, he showed it. I think two of the passes defense were in that game. Let me pull it up here real quick. Yeah, so two passes defense. Those two passes defense were in that game on Sunday, against the Chargers, and of course that last play was it meant so much to the team, and it was so vital. I mean, it was clutch, total clutch. And again, I'm just really, really excited about what we're going to be able to do with him in the future. So it's going to be really good. So that's all I really got for you guys today as far as transactions and things like that. There's really no injury news at the moment. I know that they talked with Gruden yesterday. And as far as they know, they don't have any updates on Trent Brown. As of right now, he's still going to be missing a month of play. No news on Richie Incognito as of right now. So everything's really hush hush as far as that's concerned. But of course, Damon Arnett is back at practice. Brian Edwards is back at practice. They really feel like they're going to be able to play this next week against the Broncos. So, So Bial says, exciting times for our beloved Raiders, stacking up W's. Absolutely, man. This is a young team, a young up and coming team. I know that we had a lot of struggles, especially on defense. But you know what, guys, we gotta stay positive, Raider Nation. Stay positive, and keep the faith. These guys are going to come through. They're going to get better. Hopefully, if I'm on the whole, get rid of Paul Guenther train, I'm right there with everybody else. Get rid of him, bring somebody in that can utilize these talented players, because we have plenty of them. So Bial says, commitment to excellence with continuous mission improvement, Raider Nation. So now I just want to go ahead and take the last few minutes. If anybody have any questions, you could post it up in the chat. Let me know what your questions are. If I can answer them, I definitely will. Let me know if you have any questions, and then we'll go from there. Let me pull up something here real quick. So our next game is against the Broncos. And I believe, let me pull it up here. Yeah, so our next game is against the Broncos, and it's going to be at home. So we're going to have a home game against the Broncos. I really feel like that is definitely a winnable game. We should be let's see, we are right now at 5-3, so we should definitely be 6-3 next week. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't actually cover the Chargers Raiders game. Bial says, I'm not ready for Paul Guenther to go yet. Evolution at the end of season. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I feel like, maybe ride out the season with him. I was really mad. I was really mad after Sunday's game because of how much our defense was able to let the Chargers come back in that game. It was really frustrating to watch. So at one point I was like, you know what? Don't even let him take the bus back with the team. Like, just send him on his way. I'm just frustrated with him. That game, there is no way that we should have let them come back. We scored a touchdown in the first quarter, the second quarter. We scored 2 touchdowns in the third quarter. So we're up 28 to 28-20 or 28-17. We let them score that field goal at the end, and then a couple of field goals at the in the last quarter. I just feel like that second quarter, those 17 points should not have happened. It was really frustrating, but it is what it is. You know, we were able to pull off the victory in the end. It was a close game. I'd like to see more. Obviously, would like to see Henry Ruggs targeted more. I know a lot of people are really frustrated with Henry Ruggs not getting more targets, or I think he only got like one or two targets in that whole game. And the thing that I really want to stress to people is Henry Ruggs. You know, John Gruden has said before that he does struggle a little bit right now in the man-to-man coverage. You know, he's got to work a little bit. I think he needs to put a little bit of weight on, just a little bit. Obviously, don't want him to put on too much weight because we don't want him to get slower. But at the same time, you know, maybe put a little bit of lean muscle on, so you know he's a little bit stronger in those bump coverages and stuff like that. So, yeah, don't trip too much about Henry Ruggs. He's going to get his targets, especially when we get Edwards back on the field, Nelson Aguilar on the field at the same time. That's going to open things up for Henry Ruggs. You know, he's only going to get better. Just give it some time. Don't trip too much. Marcus85 says, do we need Theo Riddick? That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I like the tandem of Josh Jacobs, Booker, and Rashard. I like those. I like those three running backs. Maybe possibly. I mean, do we really need him as a depth guy? But I don't know. Maybe he'll prove to be a better, better catching the ball out of the backfield than Rashard would be. I'm not 100% sure. I know that they brought him up to the active roster, and again, I don't know, if that was to, if that or they either that or they pulled him off of injured reserve, one of the two. Anyhow, he's back playing again with the team, and practice and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think maybe though they're just going to see how he looks, and what's going to happen with him, and if he's better at catching the ball in the backfield, which I've heard that he really is. I've seen that he really is good at that. If he's better than Rashard and he's got better hands, because obviously Jalen Rashard, can be a fumbler. He can fumble the ball and not take care of the ball very well. We've seen that, and that's one of the things that's frustrated me most about him is the fact that he just has a problem with hanging on to the dang ball, which is like some of your one of the basic things you need to do as a football player is hold the ball. But yeah, if he could protect the ball better and catch the ball out of the backfield as well, if not better than Jalen Rashard, I say move on from Rashard and keep Theo Riddick. But that remains to be seen. They're going to have to see how things go in practice. So yeah, if doesn't look like there's any more questions in the chat. Again, I appreciate you guys coming through and checking this out. If you have not already, if this is your first time, Redder Nug says he's apparently a better blocker too. Yeah, that I've heard that as well. I've heard that, he can come through in the block, and, Jalen Rashard has, he seems to have done an okay job, but if we can get better blocker out of Theo Riddick, then hey, I'm down with it. So if you haven't already, like, subscribe, hit the notification button. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for coming through. If you're watching this on the Spotlight Sports Talk Network, the Spotlight Sports Network channel, any one of the channels that I'm broadcasting on right now, if you're watching it from there, jump over to My City, My Game. Maybe one of the moderators, if you guys could throw that link into the chat real quick. Jump over to My City, My Game. Subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 200 subscribers. I've got a challenge for when I get to 200 subscribers. What I'm going to do is, as soon as I get to 200 subscribers, I'm going to jump on live. I'm going to say thank you to everybody, and anybody that jumps in live, and then posts in the comments, not in the actual chat, but in the comments under the video. I'm going to leave it open for about a week or so after. Whoever goes on there and comments, I'm going to take your name, I'm going to write a rap, and then I'm going to perform it live on the channel. So may end up having to be a cappella unless I can find a really good royalty-free royalty-free music, which I know YouTube does provide some of that. So I'll try to find something, but if it's not a good beat, I'm not going to use it. I might just do it a cappella, but yeah, I'm going to take your names and I'm going to write a rap and I'm going to incorporate your guys' names and perform it live on the channel. So do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Let's get to 200 subscribers. Let's see what else we got in the chat here real quick. Raider Nug 209 with the O-line hurt, and that might be the plan to use him as an added blocker. Absolutely. Yep, there's the YouTube. Oh, Marcus85 says, what happens if Ingle is out for an extended period of time? Oh, yeah, so that's another thing, too. Thank you for bringing that up. So Alec Ingold did have to end up going to the hospital with a rib injury. John Gruden, yesterday in the press conference, he was asked, he did address that. He said that right now they don't have any information to give on his injury or how bad it is. They're definitely concerned. It's a concerning injury, John Gruden said, because it is a rib injury. So it just remains to be seen. I know that Alec Ingle is a tough kid. So I highly doubt that if he's not able to, or if he's able to, he's going to play even if he's a little sore. So I wouldn't be too totally concerned. But again, we really don't have any information on that. If he is out for an extended period of time, Theo Riddick, I definitely feel like he would be a great fill-in for a guy like Ingold who could block and do that sort of stuff. So, yeah, Riddick steps in, ? Absolutely. Jamar Games, what's up, man? How you doing? Appreciate you. He says, hello, everybody. Raider Nug 209 injury report comes out tomorrow, so we'll see. Yes, we will see what that looks like. Marcus85 says, that's why I asked. Yep, absolutely. No, that's definitely a good observation. I completely forgot about Alec Ingold and that whole injury. But yeah, as soon as we get some more information on Alec Ingold, we can address that. And I'll do some research and do a little bit more, get a little bit more information dug up on Theo Riddick and see, possibly could he be somebody that could step in for Alec Ingold in that situation. Cleve Farrell, Broncos always play us like dogs. Yeah, they do. I mean, they're a rival. They're a division rival for sure. So never a give me on any division game because it's always everybody always plays like it's a playoff game in a division game. So, hey, Emma Hennepin, what's up? Odie loves watching her uncle being awesome. Hey, I appreciate you. Hi, Odie. That's my sister-in-law and my niece. Or my sister and my niece. Hi, Odie. Hi. She's like just over a year old. Anyhow, yeah. So again, I appreciate every one of you. Again, if you're watching for the first time, if you're on Facebook or any one of the other places that I'm broadcasting, other than my YouTube channel, which is My City My Game, definitely go over to My City My Game, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, share the channel, share the videos that you like. Go check it out. I'm going to be coming out with with a series called The Autumn Education, where I'm going to be teaching my 6-month-old daughter, whose name happens to be Amara Autumn. After the Autumn win, I'm going to be teaching her some Raiders history. So definitely check out that series. It's going to start at the end of this week. So I'll have an exact date coming out here for you guys soon. So make sure you keep an eye on your notifications. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you. You guys have yourself a good night. And as we always say, just win, baby. Just freaking win.
Welcome to the My City My Game pod show featuring Raider J77, your place for all things Raiders and all things Trailblazers. Brought to you by the Spotlight Sports Network. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Now let's go. What's up, fantasy champions? Spotlight Sports Network is excited to tell you about an amazing deal from Thrive Fantasy, your place for daily fantasy sports and esports. Right now with promo code SS Network, Thrive Fantasy will match up to $50 of your first deposit. So go to thrivefantasy.com and sign up now with promo code SS Network. That's thrivefantasy.com, promo code SS Network.